Hello everyone, my name is Shama. I'm with Girls and Geese, and we're super excited today we have a fantastic Ask a Black Belt segment participant. Her name is April Parks. She's a black belt out of the East Coast. She's doing all sorts of awesomeness for women in Jiu Jitsu. She has her Grappling Getaways camps. She's an avid competitor, an instructor. The list goes on how this woman is awesome. So it's really a pleasure to have April Parks on here today. Hey, April, how's it going?
I am blessed. How are you?
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you on. I'm so happy we could do this.
I'm super excited. I can't wait.
So I gave him a little bit of an intro on you. If you can, feel free, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a black belt under Carlos Machado. I've been training since 2011. I'm an active competitor in mostly the Masters division right now, but a majority of my accolades came in the adult divisions. I am a mother of 4 children. I'm a doggy mom. I work full-time in the city of Syracuse in education, and I'm also a school owner.
Awesome. So I'm curious, how do you do it all?
I ask myself that all the time, actually. I'm like, I don't know. It's a struggle for sure. Time management is something that I'm constantly revisiting and evaluating my balance in life. And like most things, sometimes my attention will shift towards competition. Other times it's shifting towards my children or my job. Or the business. So my attention tends to go in a lot of directions, but I always try to find balance. I'm constantly sitting back and reevaluating how I'm spending my time, if I'm taking care of myself, if I'm taking care of my family and their emotions and their needs and my students. So it's a lot, but I'm generally a high energy person. And so I kind of try to grind as much as I can between the hours of 5 a.m. until I shut down like a robot at 8:30 p.m. every night.
Like deprogram.
Literally just shut down. Hit pillow and I'm out.
So how did you get started in jiu-jitsu? What led you down this path?
So my fiance had trained prior to me ever starting or considering starting. And I actually brought my older son, who now runs track at the University of Buffalo. And he hated it, literally despised it. And I was like, oh gosh, well, maybe we should give it another try. And the owner of the gym at the time had said, you look like you might be interested in this or be good at this. And I was like, I don't think so. You guys look silly. Like you're sweating on each other, you're wearing pajamas. I don't think this is for me. And then I gave it a try. And from the moment that I tried it, I was like, wow, this reminds me of wrestling with my brother when I was younger. I love this. So it was kind of love at first sight, and I didn't expect to love it that much.
Yeah, that's awesome. I kind of was the same, where I had been around it and I was like, no, this is not for me at all.
Yeah,
And it took
the
a lot
first year,
of convincing.
the first year is super tough because I know it's just guys are sweating on you, and I'm just kind of like, oh my god, I don't think I can do this, but you kind of get used to it, I guess.
Yeah. In time.
And then after practice, I'm always like, if I smell, I'm like, that's definitely not me. That was all the guys that were with me, because I smell like flowers, not my sweat.
Of course, as we all do.
Right.
So it was love at first sight. Was it like, I want to jump in and I want to do competition right away? Or, I mean, I know this is not your whole, you're multifaceted. You have a lot of other areas going on, but were you consumed with it right away? We're like, yeah, I want to just compete. I want to live this lifestyle. Like, I am all in.
No, not right away. Not right away. I have a super competitive nature. Since I was very young, I was competitive in track and field since the age of 8. By the time I was 11 or 12, I was already competing on national scenes. I ran track in college, and then I got into soccer. I played soccer for Empire State Game and nationally ranked teams. So I always had this competitive edge. But when I had children in my 20s, I just stopped competing, cold turkey. And who I had identified myself with prior to that was kind of like non-existent, and I kind of had to like let her be. I kind of had like said rest in peace to the old April, and I'm like, this is the new me, and you know, I have my 4 kids and they're my priority. I don't get to do anything for me anymore. And then when I found jiu-jitsu, and one of my first coaches said, you know what, I think you could probably win a world championship. Like, you're really good. It really just sparked that competitive nature within me that I was like, you really think so? And then I just jumped in, and I'm the type of person that if I'm going to jump in, I'm going all in. Like, I'm going to cross all the T's, dot the I's, you know, never miss a practice, wake up at 5 a.m. and grind. So I just I went all in only after realizing that I had some potential.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So walk me through, I mean, you're running a business, you're, you know, you're driving education, you're running a gym, you're a competitor. What is your like when you're getting ready for a competition, do you change your training? I know some people do and some people don't, but what does it look like for you when you're getting ready for a competition?
So anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks out, depending on the competition, I pretty much just put my nose to the grindstone. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. I'm getting at least 3 to 4 lift sessions in a week. I do my cardio and conditioning. I have hard days and light days. I will stack my hard cardio and conditioning with hard rolling at night. So I try to like let my body recover. I try to listen to my body more now that I'm older. If I feel too beat up, I will take a day off. I find that's more beneficial than continuing to just break myself down. But so yeah, 5 a.m. I'm up. I do my workouts, eat very well, obviously, get all my kids off to school, the ones that are still in the house. I go to work myself by 7:30. I work until 3:15. I come through the door. I have a cup of coffee. I walk back out at 4:30, and we teach until about 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night every night.
Wow. So you're on the go, like from get up to go.
Yeah. And so weekend trainings are super valuable for me. So I am a religious person, so I do try to observe the Sabbath. But sometimes it's really hard because it's the only day that my training partners are available. But like today, I trained this morning, and I'm actually at my gym right now. I'm going to get a lift session in, so that'll be my 2-a-days for today. And I really focus on quality of training. So it's like every single round is super important to me. I'm very intentional. As a black belt, my training has kind of changed. I remember as a blue belt, it was all about like annihilate myself, you know, crawl off the mat dead. But now it's really stimulate, don't annihilate. So I'm constantly looking to just like have the best technique that I can, get the best rounds that I can, constantly keeping score in my head, trying to perfect my technique. So it's just a different kind of training, still intense, but still, but very intentional.
What would you say to other moms that are kind of I mean, you have a full overflowing plate there, but what would you say to other moms that, you know, maybe kind of went down the same path as you? They played athletically, competitively younger, and then they hit the wall and they go, okay, well, now I'm mom and this is my life. And what would you tell them if they're like, I don't have time for jiu-jitsu. Like, I got too much going on already.
You know, it's amazing what we have time for when we make time. Right? So like whatever becomes our priority, like if you really love jiu-jitsu and you want it to be a priority, you'll make time for it. You know, maybe your gym has 6 a.m. classes, maybe there's noon classes, there's night classes. So it's actually more available than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be just like, there's like 6 p.m. class, like that's the one I have to go to. I do always suggest, you know, if your kids can get into jiu-jitsu, that's great because they'll be there with you. Maybe they're doing the kids class. But you try to make time for it. You know, when I was training at blue and purple, a lot of my training came in my house. I was lucky enough that my fiance trained, so we could train with each other. When I didn't have anybody to train with, I was doing 100 hip switches, 100 sprawls, 100 shots. Like, I was just trying to perfect what I could when I had the opportunity, even though classes weren't available at the times that I had time to go. So it's just kind of like how bad you want it. And is that your goal? If that's not your goal and maybe you just want to compete casually, well then, you know, jump into a competition where maybe there's other casual competitors so that you can get that fix that you're looking for. My best advice, not necessarily competitive advice, but just as a mom, is like understanding that your kids are only going to be young once. So like you miss their game, you miss something, that's on you. You have to live with that regret. There's things that I've missed. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I wish I could have made a better choice at that time. So again, I come back to always looking at the balance. Am I training too much? Am I making what's important to my kids? So just, I say every month, just look back, make a pie chart and say, okay, friends, family, spirituality, jujitsu. Where am I? If I'm 50% jujitsu, then I'm off balance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I think that's really good advice. I mean, mother or not mother, you know, I think that women in jiu-jitsu and men in jiu-jitsu, you know, if you're juggling a lot and you're maybe way too much jiu-jitsu and not any of the other parts, that's definitely a problem as well, too.
Absolutely. Yep.
So I'm curious, you know, I respect the hell out of what anybody who tries to do anything for the jiu-jitsu community. I'm like, I know the struggle. And so I respect the heck out of what you're doing. What led you down this path to kind of start looking at empowering and uniting women in jiu-jitsu?
You know, I got to be honest. I think for almost any woman that is really kind of, you know, involved in the jiu-jitsu community, it's almost inevitable. Like you have to. Because you're going to experience, whether you want to or not, something where you're kind of like, there's an equity here. And how do I help with whatever platform I have create equity? And that's just kind of how it happened. It was totally organic. It wasn't intentional. And I'm living that every day. And like, I think I had mentioned to you when we had discussed before, it's so interesting because like, I'm not a Division I wrestler. I'm not a wrestler. I'm a jiu-jitsu, you know, player. But I find myself surrounded by all these young wrestler girls that are like, hey, how do I make this a career?
Oh.
How do I go to college? And I'm like, I don't know, but I want to help you figure it out. So here I am, like trying to like bring them to wrestling tournaments. And so it's like, you got to use your platform. And I think that women are fighting so hard in our sport to be viewed the same as our male counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, just respect me. And then when we gain our respect, we're like, okay, now that I'm respected, I can speak up.
Yeah, now I have a voice.
Right. Because for a long time, I'm like, excuse me, I'm a little white belt, but I don't like this. You know, like, but now I can just be like, it's like a black belt. I'm like, I don't like that. It's got to stop. Like, I'm like, it sucks. You know, so it's interesting, you know, and you earn it. You definitely earn your respect and you earn your platform and your voice, which, to be honest, you should. You should have to earn being able to advocate for others, right? Yeah. So that you can use the platform that you've been given.
Absolutely. No. And I think that's what I respect the most of you, you know, is that you see that there's a responsibility that comes with it too, you know? Like, it's not just, oh, I'm out here just doing my thing. It's like that there's a cause, there's a greater good behind it, you know, that is bigger than you or I.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So with kind of continuing down that path, what are some changes that you've seen that you're like, yes? And what are some changes that you're like, oh, we got a ways to go. We got to keep working at this.
You know, in regards to females being in the front of the room, it just seems like it's so much more accepted right now. Everywhere I go, men are super excited to learn from me. And the women are just like in such adoration of like, it's so cool having a female instructor, you know? And so I really love that. It seems like it's becoming like a norm, right? As opposed to a rarity. And that's super exciting. I also think that I had mentioned before, it's still disappointing that we don't have more weight classes for ADCC. That's just like something that I think needs to just happen. Like it just needs to happen. Just match up with the guys, the same amount of weight classes. We have a draw. We have a huge audience and crowd. So it's like, just accommodate us. It's not hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the jiu-jitsu, women's jiu-jitsu is pretty awesome too.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I had a new girl come in. She tried jiu-jitsu last week and she was just like, doing jiu-jitsu with girls is so hard. Like the boys, it's like easy, but the girls, they like get this stern look on their face and then they're like so serious. I'm like, I've said that forever. I'd rather roll with the guys. Like they'll like just quit. Girls are like, you're going to have to kill me right here on this mat. It's just like in our nature, like, you know, fighters. And I just think we put on great shows. We leave it all on the mat. women try to be highly technical, and I think we put on great shows.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I wanted to kind of circle back. You kind of touched on it. Like, you know, I think a lot of us that come into this sport, and especially a lot of us that get into the competition circuit and enter into that world, we do have this kind of natural competitiveness in us. And I'm curious, like for you in owning a gym and working with women, you know, in that, I mean, I think that a lot of women in jiu-jitsu understand that competition can be healthy, you know? And so I'm interested in your perspective on, say you get somebody new coming in, how are you able to kind of reinforce that? Like, hey, listen, we can go out there, we can put it all on the line, but we can be really awesome friends in the end of the day as well.
You know what? I would love to give you like a deep philosophical answer for that one, but I feel like it's super organic that like women are like, wait a second, we just went out there, we gave it our all. You want to go have a cup of coffee? Like my best friends in jiu-jitsu, I've competed against all of them, and we've become best friends afterwards. So it's like, you know, I think it's just something where, again, you know, you're sharing the mats together, you're sharing this really intimate space together, these intimate experiences. You know, you're out there doing battle. Like there's nothing that's really more intimate than that. And then afterwards, it's like, all right, kind of like what stays in Vegas, happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas. What happens on the mat stays on the mat. It really shouldn't fall you off the mats, you know? I encourage girls to always try their best and always just keep training partners safe, right? There's no amount of winning that's worth hurting any training partner and scaring a girl off, right?
Yep.
So we want to make sure we keep our female training partners around. And I'm constantly telling everyone, like, you want to make sure we take care of them, because then you'll have many training partners, right? As opposed to just like complaining that you don't have women to train with, but you hurt them all. Like, you can't do that and then complain.
No. Well, that kind of leads me into my next question. Do you think it's important for women to be training with women?
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do. I think that you are able to obviously get great training in with men, right? Like there's no doubt about it. For a very long time, I was only training with men. I would say for like a good 6 or 7 years. Still to this day, level wise, we're trying to catch people up as fast as possible. But like in my community, my main training partners are still men. However, when I go and I train with women, we know we just have different characteristics that make our jiu-jitsu just, again, a little bit different. So if I pass their guard and all of a sudden I have a toe in my eye, I'm like, where'd the toe come from? Like the guys don't have that hip flexibility that the women do, you know, and some of the feistiness and some of the shoulder flexibility. I get a girl in an omoplata and I'm like, what? Like normally a guy would already be tapping, but she like limp armed out of it and she's done a cartwheel backflip. Like what's going on here? So I do think it's important. And I also think it's important for women to train with other women because we do have a slightly different experience, not in a good or a bad way, but we just do. And so it's nice to be able to say, hey, does this happen to you too? Oh, okay. So it's like, it's affirmation, and it's always good to have affirmation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm curious. I have been wanting to go to one of your camps forever. And you and I have talked about this. So you don't have to go through all the details, but like, what are kind of like going into a camp? What are some of the like goals or expectations that you set for that?
For myself to be the host, or for people for their experience?
For their experience.
Honestly, my hope for anyone that attends our camp is that they walk away with just like valuable memories, aha moments, bucket list items checked, and new friends, people that they feel genuinely want them to belong to their community. So belonging, just really belonging, and that feeling of like, wow, like I wish that I could do that again, or I wish I could just like keep this experience in my pocket for life and always recall on it when I need to feel happy. I like to put smiles on people's faces. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. So what are some goals for you personally and professionally in jiu-jitsu moving forward?
Oh, wow. Someone was saying hi. I was trying to say hi. So personally, long-term goal, I want to be able to produce female grapplers that come from my school that
Mm-hmm.
they way outdo any accomplishments I've ever had. I think that one of the best things that you can do as a coach is have people represent you better than you ever could have. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's something that is a really long-term goal for me. We're doing that right now with our youth. And it's super exciting to see them growing by the year. Um, I would love to, I'm going to be 42 this year. So my goal was to jump in, if I can, if I have the time, as many sub-only tournaments as I can, possibly jump into ADCC trials, and do just a couple more things at adult before I'm totally pushed off to the masters divisions. And honestly, mainly just because of time. It's really hard for me because I'm not a professional grappler. I'm not training twice a day and only training. If I were, I would go back to adult, but I just don't have that schedule. So I'd like to try to, over the summer when I have those 3 months off from my work, jump
Mm-hmm.
into some more adult stuff and just challenge myself and see how I can do.
Yeah, these adult divisions are they are next level.
They
Like
really are.
it's, oh my gosh, when I was competing in adult division, it was I mean it was phenomenal. But this is like you're talking kids who've been training since they could walk that are now black belts in these divisions competing, and it's as one of my friends would say, I miss the days of eating a burrito and going and training jiu-jitsu and competing, and this is not the same circuit as that. You have to really step up your game to be able to compete at that level. So that's awesome, because it's unfortunate, as we get older, it's harder to compete in the adult divisions, and it's a challenge for sure. How much
It
longer do you
is.
think you're going to be competing at the adult level?
I'm the type that's going to ride it till the wheels fall off. Like you know what I'm saying?
You're
Like
like, grandma's coming for you.
grandma is coming. No, I feel, again, like you said in the beginning, like sometimes when you feel like things are bigger than you, and it's really not to feed my own ego. I don't really feel like I have to accomplish, not that I've accomplished everything, but like I don't have anything to prove to myself. I like to try to
Mm-hmm.
constantly challenge myself to do new things. But for women that are out there wanting to still challenge themselves and push themselves to compete, I do feel like it'd be pretty cool to show them, hey, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Like don't think age is like this huge factor that's going to cripple you. You can still try to manage it, and that's kind of like my goal. Like if I'm able to do those things, then I can say, hey, look, I did it, so you can do it, and now don't quit. It's reasonable for you to have that goal, right?
Yeah. No. And then on that same note, like those master divisions, those women are tough as nails too. It's not your like 40 plus year. I was having a discussion with somebody who was like, 50-year-old, a 50-year-old looks so much different for our parents' generation than it does now.
It's true. And then I think, like they say, old man strength. I think old lady strength is a thing. Cause like, I mean, I'm strong, but like, I have like this grip. Like, it's like people are like, what the heck is that? Right? Like, it's like, that's old lady strength. That's what I mean. All it is.
And I think women who've gone through childbirth, there's another level of strength that comes with that. Like anytime I've competed, I have somebody who just had a kid. I'm like, dang, you are strong. You've been through hell, and now you know.
You can't hurt me.
You can't hurt me.
Famous.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, I'll go ahead and close this out with one last question. What kind of impact, if we look back on history, what kind of impact do you want to look back and say, I did that. That was me. That was April Parks. I had a little piece in that.
I've always, I have a Post-it that's on my mirror, and it says, and I've had it there since 2014 when I won my first adult blue belt world title. I didn't feel at the time like anybody was watching me, and I didn't feel like anyone knew who I was. I felt the same in 2016. I felt the same in 2017, 19. I'm like, nobody knows who I am. And it used to bother me, but my Post-it says, I'm going to come in like a thief in the night and I will steal, right? I'm going to steal everything, and I'm going to walk away, and people are going to be like, whoa, who was that? So I want to be like the sleeper. I want to be like, wow, this old lady who's 42 years old came out of nowhere, and she won all these things, and like, it's still possible. And the other part of that is that I'm all natural. I will always stay all natural. And that's not to put anybody down. You can do whatever you want, whatever choices you want, but I know what my recovery looks like. I know how sore I am every day. I know how many more reps I could get in if I was on other things. Okay. So like April not on whatever, if she was on stuff, April on stuff would kill April not on stuff. Like, that's just a fact. So that's where I stand. So it's going to be really important for me to, you know, accomplish things that people are like, whoa, she can't do it. I love to be told I can't do something. And then finally, I want to be able to do those things and just be like, I'm all natural. I never touched anything. I never did nothing. And I literally rode it till the wheels like fell off. And I tried my best to encourage everybody else to do the same. And that's at the end, I would like to be viewed like that. Like, wow, she always gave it her all. That's it.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you continually in the geriatrics divisions. I wish you all the best. I want to be there when those wheels fall off.
I don't actually want them to fall off. My orthopedic is going to be like, I don't like this idea. So,
old lady strength, like, ah!
Exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think that's true. You know, it's like, I was here, I did it, I came, I went, I saw, I stole. You had no idea I was even here.
No, never even suspected me. That's what I like. I also don't like having the expectation. Just show up and I'm like, don't mind me, little old lady in the corner stretching, doing tough jumps and sprawls. Don't mind me at all.
Oh, well, awesome. It was such a pleasure having you on. Always a pleasure chatting with you. I look forward to us actually meeting in person and being able to hang out and cruise and get to know each other even well. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of this discussion, taking the time to tune in and get to know a little bit more about the ninja assassin here that sneaks in and out April Parks. You gotta watch out for her.
I jumped on a turtle in the Bahamas and caught it. That's what they're talking about. The turtle actually beat me up, FYI. I didn't know that they were like Manny Pacquiao. It hit me like 75 times.
Oh my God.
I was all bleeding. I was like, what is going on? Turtle assassin. I love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you, April, and best of luck on anything and everything you do. I think you're like I said, I have utmost respect. Like,
aw, thank you so much. Likewise, back at you, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. You guys take care. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.